So the reason that we kind of started down this road for St. Hildes was we were, drinking wine or drinking whatever cocktails, sometimes with sugar, juice or whatever, and it would just make us feel terrible the next day. And so we kind of opened up the liquor cabinet at the same time as the tincture cabinet and
Yeah.
decided that it was a really good idea to combine those two things. And the interesting thing about alcohol is that you don't have to put ingredients on the labels, and it's kind of an inflammatory situation. You don't know what you're putting in your body. And so that was another part of the puzzle that we wanted to solve for people.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ingredient Evolution podcast. Today, we're joined by Megan, the Chief Brand Officer and co-founder of St. Hildes. Megan, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thanks for joining us today. And why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
So like you said, I'm the chief brand officer of St. Hildes. St. Hildes is a spiked tonics company. So we make canned cocktails that have botanical ingredients that have been chosen for their functionality. And we do everything with consideration of the mind, body, spirit, village, and earth. So we're taking into account all of the elevated resourcing that we can, and just smart choices on what ingredients to put in, because we are a bunch of women who are healthy and but still like to have a cocktail. So we wanted to kind of mix those two.
It's a good combination.
Yeah. Just because you do yoga doesn't mean you can't have a cocktail sometimes.
That's right. So, sounds like you co-built the brand. So,
Yep.
anything about your team, your partners?
Sure. So the company was started by three women, myself and Christine Peck and Alexi Cashin, and we all have different skill sets. We're all into food and into wellness. We have different ways of expressing that between the three of us, but I run, I do yoga. I also have a big suite. Actually, we all have a big suite of tinctures in our cabinets, just that we use for holistic health and for, just maintaining, for really thriving into our 40s, which we are all sort of into our 40s. So the reason that we kind of started down this road for St. Hildes was we were drinking wine or drinking whatever cocktails, sometimes with sugar, juice or whatever, and it would just make us feel terrible the next day. And so we kind of opened up the the liquor cabinet at the same time as the tincture cabinet and decided that it was a really good idea to combine those two things. And the interesting thing about alcohol is that you don't have to put ingredients on the labels, and it's kind of an inflammatory situation. You don't know what you're putting in your body. And so that was another part of the puzzle that we wanted to solve for people. Everything that we make has ingredients that come from the ground. You can picture them growing. If you're a Michael Pollan fan and you've read Food Rules, that's that was our guidepost right there. And so we ended up with this, kind of effervescent, lightly flavored but delicious cocktail that has 5% alcohol, and the herbs that have been chosen are things that, kind of will help address certain, parts of digestion and immunity and things like that. So we just figured that if you were making a cocktail, why not put something in it that could actually help you or be beneficial?
Yeah, like a cocktail with a multivitamin or something, right?
But the good tasting ones, not the like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's a great mesh, right? Because to your point, there's a lot of people that are trying to do things that are good for them and be healthy, and are into wellness and that type of stuff, but you also like to have a good time. And, you know, I'm not on the women's side, but I would consider myself to be in that, it's kind of similar category. Doing the cold plunges and
Totally.
red light therapy and grounding and those kinds of things. And then, but you still want to have fun and you still want to, enjoy a beverage with friends or things like that. So,
Hmm.
if you can do that and then have it be something that, has some health benefits. I mean, maybe not, full benefit claims and stuff like that, but it can help you. It can, counteract some of the bad or make it so that the next day, it's a lighter feeling or a better feeling. Especially just eliminating all the garbage, that's in there, the corn syrups and excessive sweeteners and all that. I think it's a smart game plan, a smart way to go. I mean, that's part of why we reached out to you guys is for that reason. I think it's a thoughtful approach.
Thank you. Thanks.
So
Yeah, I think I mean, when we started, which was, we were on shelf late 2021. And when we started the idea of a better for you booze, I'm making bunny ears, was like White Claw. It was something that was totally clear, that was like raspberry flavored, but really there was not a raspberry in sight. And just low calorie and lowish alcohol. We can't say like low alcohol, I think is 2.5 and below ABV, but, something that was not like a shot of vodka. And so, there was just a big white space for something that actually tasted like real food and, and had all of those thoughtful choices built into it.
what have been some of your challenges in developing and the process?
Formulation was so fun and so interesting and so just unpredictable. We wanted something that tasted like real fruit. And so there are a lot of different things that you can use that will, kind of work towards that. If you have a lot of juice in something, then you don't get as many bubbles. We tunnel pasteurize, which is a process that allows us to be shelf stable. But what it does is it prevents you from having those like crazy big bubbles that you would find in a White Claw, which actually we prefer the effervescence anyway, so that wasn't a problem for us. But just some of the things that you learn along the way. A lot of those companies that have those big bubble, I mean, beyond even just canned goods, use Velcorin, which is a preservative. So we have a grocery store here called Erewhon, and you know how a lot of times you'll hear people use the phrase European standards for ingredients and exclusions. Erewhon is right in line with that. They have really high standards for the ingredients that you're allowed to use in anything that is sold in their stores. And so, and they've been one of our biggest supports throughout our entire company. They were one of our earliest retailers, and they're awesome. Just a great, really wonderful selection of products there. And Velcorin is one of the things that is used in a lot of it's used in a lot of wine. It's used in like LaCroix, lots of different products use it, not just alcohol, but it's a preservative and it allows you to get those big bubbles. But we did not want to use Velcorin. And so hence the tunnel pasteurization, which means you have to find really specific co-manufacturers to make the product for you. That's the manufacturing process is wild and interesting, and there's so much that goes into every product that is on a shelf. I have such a respect for anything that gets onto a shelf, especially things that are considerate of their ingredients.
Yeah, not wanting to add something that sounds like Velcro is probably good.
Totally. Yeah, so that was, that was another consideration in the manufacturing process. We use some purees because some of the purees of fruit, it's interesting to see the difference between juices and purees and concentrates and what, like what makes something taste like a guava.
Yeah.
So we had included some puree to begin with, and it got really heavy, and so there's some balancing that we had to do with all of the recipes just to make it feel, like a spritz. But it was a fun process. So from a taste perspective, we wanted something that tasted like a guava, that tasted like a lemon, that had a really fresh kind of ripe quality to it.
Yeah.
But the consistency is a factor because, we wanted it to be effervescent. We wanted it to feel like a spritz, like something just totally crushable, refreshing. And so you have to play with things like puree. We used a guava puree, which tastes really, really good, like really, really guava. And balance that out with juices or a concentrate. So that you get that right consistency. So there were just a million little tiny decisions like that. Sourcing became an interesting factor in all of that as well. Our supplier ran out of elderberry right when we needed to produce, so we had to go and find a new supplier of elderberry and all of those kinds of things. So it's a juggling, kind of whack-a-mole situation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in this day and age, supply chain is a important aspect of business.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Not only do you have to find the right ingredient, you have to be able to have it consistently there for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had a great company that was pretty far away that we were actually had to import from outside of the country for some of our tinctures. Our tinctures are a really important part of our drinks. We have a proprietary blend of lemon balm, euletharo, and holy basil that goes into every drink. And so our sourcing for that, we wanted really, the best sourcing that we could get. We found this company, and customs became a factor, and getting into the country was rough. We used them for a couple of our runs, and then couldn't get what we needed from them, and ended up having to run and gun source, and ended up finding someone right in our backyard in California. So sometimes those kinds of situations can actually result in, even better situations.
Yeah, there's always a plan out there. Sometimes you got to go through the struggle to find the fruit on the other side.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. What other, I mean, you talked about tinctures and stuff. What other kinds of technologies or other kinds of innovative ingredients have you guys looked into, or are you looking into?
We have done a lot of exploration. I'm super interested in spirulina and sea vegetables in general. I think that's there is a lot of opportunity there and a lot of sustainability in the farming of those things.
Yeah.
Regenerative farming is something we're taking into consideration moving forward. We are, always open to making things as better and better for the consumer, better for the planet, and better for the company. So, as much as we can. So, mushrooms, we've looked into matcha. We have a whole line of seasonals that are slated to come out over the course of time as we grow scale.
Okay. So where are you guys at scale wise now? What markets are you in?
We have over 150 storefronts. We are in California and Utah. And then we do D2C, direct to consumer, to most states. Well, there's a list on our website.
Okay.
I can't remember that there's like 4 or 5 that we don't ship to, but
That don't allow it, or
you can get St. Hildes most anywhere.
perfect. We'll be ordering some from Montana if it's not one of those states.
I think you're good.
Yeah, they're usually pretty hands off here with regulations and stuff like that, but you never know.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Anything, I guess, you said seasonal stuff. Any exciting, new flavors or anything you can reach, that you can give us a hint at?
We are our next flavor. Well, I think I have to keep it under wraps for now. But we do have one in the works that is really good and a little spicy.
Oh, spicy. Nice. When do you think that'll be out?
Um, it's could be as early as this summer. If not this.
Okay. Okay. So not pumpkin spice season.
Yeah. I actually have an aversion to pumpkin spice myself, but my partners don't. So maybe someday. But
okay.
we did toy with
good.
a cardamom flavor that they loved, and yeah, I couldn't handle it. But that's just my palate.
Well, good to know you have good taste. I'm not a big pumpkin spice person. But to each their own.
Exactly.
Awesome. What are the ways that listeners can connect with you?
You can find us online at sthildes.com. We're on Instagram and TikTok at Drink a Hildy. And, over email, just reach out. We'd love to meet you.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for jumping on with us.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, and thanks to everyone out there for listening. And we'll, if there's anything else important you want that we didn't touch on that you wanted to chat about?
I think we covered a lot of it. I think that you can it's there. You have the ability now to incorporate wellness even into your, liquor cabinet. So I think there are so many interesting things that will be kind of developing moving forward. It's a good time to be in the alcohol space.
It's a good time to be alive. So absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you again. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.